My name is Greatman AYILARA, and is it okay to invite you to the official Rand Fellowship for today? We are coincidentally using the studio setting today, and I want us to discuss things that affect us directly as people. And these are the idiosyncrasies and the characteristics you see that formulated our ideology and also our behaviors as human. Either we are at home or we are abroad. And these things actually peculiar to us. Unknowingly to us, we were not born with it, but we were trained with it at birth to think this particular way. And unfortunately, all of these three things hinges on the factor of fear, the tool of fear. And I will be mentioning those three things, and I will also be talking about them. But before I go on today, you can just do a favor to me and the rest member of the community or our fellow Nigerians by pressing your share button or hosting this as a watch party. And if you are joining me on your YouTube channel directly, don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And don't just subscribe, also press your notification button so that you get to know when we have new videos there for you. Just go to your YouTube, type Greatman AYILARA, and let us learn together. You know, I decided to disown mystical lifestyle and mysteries and embrace common sense. And until I did that, I never knew I was so foolish until I began to look at things from the intellectual point of view. I didn't know I was pretty foolish. I was thinking I was sane and normal until I decided to look at myself from the outside perspective. And I always tell people that the very first step of recovery is rehabilitation. And one of the very first tool of rehabilitation is relocation. If you really want to get well as a cocaine addict or whatever addictive thing that you are getting yourself involved in, the very first step is to relocate yourself. That's why people in diaspora happens to be thinking better than we do. Not because diaspora is better than here, but because their perspective is now wider. They have actually broadened their horizon and they kind of think better. But you don't need to leave Nigeria before you can become a diaspora in terms of your thinking. You have books, you have library, you have information all across around you, and you have friends also online who have intellect. That's I always say that you know internet can either make you or mar you. Make friends with people who are going at the same destination as you, and you can't afford to be everywhere at the same time. Be selective and be very purposeful. These three things that actually is the thing that Nigerians are afraid of. I'm going to name the very first one. The very first one. What is the very first thing? And that is this thing called isolation. Isolation. An average Nigerian do not know what it takes to spend time by themselves, lacking confidence in their own self. They hate to be by themselves. They actually don't love themselves. An average Nigerian want to have this thing we call attache, always looking for a group to belong, association to register in, fraternity to be a cult member of, or the next big thing. That's why internet is the most lucrative business in the country. You're either in this group or in that page or in this clique or on this account, everybody trying to belong to a certain kind of association, even when they rightly know that it is not good for them. As long as we are getting destroyed collectively, it is a good destruction for a Nigerian. That is okay. The ability to be by yourself, think outside the box, and stay by your own decision was not a thing that we were raised up with. Having a mind of our own is not a kind of home training we took from our parents. People want to attach to someone, want to belong to someone, want to be a member of a certain clique. The only pride and confidence most Nigerians have is the confidence in the group they belong to, not in themselves. That's why you can never take them out of religion or even take them out of church. No, a lot of them know that what is happening in either their mosque, their religion, or their church and all that is very wrong. But because of the power of association, they are so scared to be alone. The stigma of, am I going to now be standing on my own, is something that a Nigerian will consider first before considering his own safety or our own safety. People want to be a member of these so that they can leverage on the power of that association. So we were trained with it by our parents, who always want to compare us with other people and say, "She Shomo first in school, or do they have 2 A's? Why can't you be like this person? Why can't you be better than this person?" They always are attaching our success to the achievement of other people. An average Nigerian parent is setting a child up to compete with another child. So they want you to go to a certain school because the children of their friends are going to that school. They want you to go to science class because the child of their friend is going to science class. They typically want you to read because they want you to read, because they also want to be boastful that they have a lawyer, an engineer, so and so in their own family, just because other family have those title in their own home too. So in the process of trying to say, okay, I'm trying to create a good future for you, they are taking away your confidence of being able to reason outside the box and stand all by yourself or alone. So you grew up naturally at home thinking that if you don't meet up to the standard of the people around you, then you are a failure. So you don't want to be alone. You don't want to be left in the back. It is because of this fear of isolation that we started this thing called AYILARA, uniformity. And one thing I want you to know is that uniformity is never part of God's plan for humanity. He decided to manifest himself in diversity. He is a dynamic God. Even though each of us are a reflection of who he is and a totality of who he is, he doesn't want us to be the same way. That's why our fingerprints are not the same. But in Nigeria, you were taught or being raised to think that if you don't do it the way others are doing it, then you are not making sense with your life. They want you to meet up to the standard of the society, not really fulfilling your own potential or own purpose also. And in the course of that, people are discerning the essence of their living or the essence of their existence day by day. And because they have lost so much to want you to meet up to the standard of others, they have been so deep into that journey or that adventure of being like a copy, being a copy of the original, that they are so ashamed of turning back right now. Now, people who are Muslim, they want to really become Christians so badly, but because it is a family thing, they rather die as a Muslim than become a Christian. People who are Christians want to leave that religion so badly because not that they don't know that there is paganism and idolatry in that place, but because they have gone so deep in it that they feel they will be ashamed of themselves and they are going to be alone and lonely. That's why they are using Obuju, strong head, to just rough everything and say, after all, we'll soon die. Let everybody just, let's get destroyed together. So in this country, you will rarely see someone who is standing up for what they believe in. And the moment you see that person, you will see mammoth of crowd saying that he's just looking for cheap popularity. Now, they are envious of you and jealous of you because you took your balls, stomp your feet on the ground and say, no, I'm not going your way. Now, they are envious of the fact that you have the effrontery and the boldness. You have the gut to want to do the right thing. Now, the fact that the wrong thing has become predominant in the society will never render it to be a good thing in life. So Isolation is one of the fear of an average Nigerian. Most of them are in diaspora right now, UK or US, not because that's where they want to be, but because somebody from their village has gone to that place. They also want to impress the people of their village, so they also went there. Isolation. Isolation. So I begin to ask myself, when are we going to get to a stage where we can make up our mind for ourselves and tell ourselves the truth that even though the world sees it as right, as long as I know it is wrong, I should be able, in my own right sense, to stand for what I think is right. A lot of you today are not paying tithe because most people you know are not paying tithe, not because you are well convinced that you shouldn't pay tithe. So when you find yourself in the midst of people who pay tithe now, and they happens to be the majority, you are ready to disown the uniqueness of your own minority to follow them again. Anywhere belly face. And the thing of being comfortable in the crowd is a very bad inheritance we took from our parents. We took from our parents. The fear of isolation. People want to belong. People want to belong. And they want to belong so badly that they are ready to live a fake life. They are ready to borrow posts in order to belong. So in the process of borrow posting, living a fake life, doing it for the gram, doing it for the community, so many of them are dying before their time. You see, folks who don't want to be alone, I don't want to be the first person who's going to get divorced in my family. They die in the marriage because of the fear of isolation or stigmatization. Yeah, I don't want to be the only one who have not gone abroad in my family or so. So they borrow money to travel and they can't come home now. At all costs, I need to build a house. How come at my age I've not built a house? So they have to go into a cooperative loan to build a house they do not need in a village they don't stay, and they spend the rest of their life repaying the loan. A lot of them are on loans of cars because the people in their estate are riding cars, and they believe that it's going to be out of place if I'm the only one who is still taking cab or taking taxi. Isolation, the fear of isolation. The fear of isolation has pushed so many of our young men, young women into marriages that they are not ready for. Homes they are not having enough equipment to start. The fear of isolation. I could not count how many girls who have lost their virginity, who are into lesbianism, who are into anal sex and all of those things, because that is what is trending. Not because they want to, but because their friends, if they know they have not done this and that, they will look less on them. So the fear of, I also want to belong to this particular thought pattern, this particular lifestyle. I don't want to be isolated. I don't want to be seen as someone who is not exposed. People are ready to plunge themselves into things that they can spend the rest of their life regretting. The fear of isolation. The fear of isolation. And while they borrow posts here and there, the shame that comes outside of it or out after it lead them into great depression. That's why you see a lot of our Nigerian folks falling into depression every now and then, because the things that you are not ripe enough to or cannot afford are the things that you are boasting that you are more than. So you borrow shirts to snap picture on Instagram, you borrow this, you borrow that. Some of them even, a lot of crazy stuff in this country. Now, where did it start from? Remember, I told you, the parents set the children up for this life of be scared of isolation. Your own cannot be different. Your own case cannot be different. People cannot be going to the East and you say you want to choose the West. Who do you want to disgrace? So in order for you to make your family proud or to even give a name to yourself in the neighborhood or in a community, people are ready to do unspeakable things just to maintain that standard of life, just because they don't want to feel isolated. The fear of isolation. And it's not happening only to Nigerians, it's happening all over the world, to every nationality, to every people of every color. If only you know how to spend time by yourself and know that I am enough for me, nobody will dare come to take you for granted. A lot of you get married today because of loneliness. Loneliness should never be the reason why you accept someone's hands in marriage. If you don't even know how to take yourself out, except you are an introvert person like myself, if you don't know how to have fun all by yourself, if you don't know how to take yourself on shopping, except you have no fashion sense like myself, you should not expect someone to come and make up for your own happiness. The fact that they are your husband or they are your wife does not mean they are responsible for your happiness in life. No. You put an unnecessary burden on another person when you begin to make them responsible for your own happiness. You bring your own full cup of happiness. I bring my own full cup of happiness. We join it together. We have excess and overflow. Excess enough to put on the children and even people that come across our way. But you see, in this life where people want to just jump into things that they cannot do for themselves, you can't use me as your ATM card. No, you can't. If you don't know what it takes to work for yourself and spend on yourself, you should never be in a relationship with someone else just because you are looking for someone to spend on you. And all this pressure is coming because of the fear of isolation. You think because you are 35-year-old and you are a lady, it is a curse or a taboo for you that you have not gotten married. It's your life about marriage. And since you've been looking for a God-fearing husband, they have been carrying you and been dumping you. You cannot count how many men have slept with you. Just because you want to belong to the class of those who are married. Some of you are even paying the groom price of the person that got married to you. Some of you are ready to do anything and everything just to keep a man. And because he can see that you are desperate, he takes advantage of you and move on to the other person who gives him the chance to chase her. Inability to spend time by yourself. You see, this thing about happiness is all about, you being able to give the right content that people can perceive in you. People naturally tilt towards those who have the right content. You don't need to showcase it. We can see it. It's a signal. It beams out. It beams out. So when someone sees that you are lonely, they can easily just see it and use that as an advantage to take you for granted. To take you for granted. So do not let the burden of isolation push you into the arms of those who will take you for granted. Do not let that be. Some of you cannot count how many times you have left a certain church, but you keep going back there because you say, our bread is better than none. You've forgotten suddenly your identity, that you are a royal priesthood, holy nation. You are a queen and a king. You don't give half bread to a king. The fear of isolation. So you leave one religious circle, you jump into one ignorant circle. It is because most of you cannot find the right place to get the right information, that you belong to some kind of nations in this Nigeria that you cannot even be proud of. That you cannot even be proud of. Why? Because when the king is very hungry, every nook and cranny of the art of the palace become a place to eat for him. You lack choice. You don't have choice. You cannot even live above reproach when it comes to setting standard for yourself. See, the fact that they treated you badly in the church does not mean that you should join one kind of nation that does not even edify you. So it is you prefer that one, even though it is nonsense. You prefer it from this one. What stops you from finding out the truth by yourself and standing alone and also being confident? Because the truth of the matter is, most people are scared of blazing their own trail. Most people very scared of blazing their own trail. And that's where hero worshiping and idolatry came in. One person who is able to successfully pay the price to be someone in life become the leader and the god of the rest, because they are lazy to take up the responsibility. So because many people are queuing up behind this person, you just fall in because you want to avoid isolation. And the thing is that isolation is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Most of the leaders, religious leaders you follow today, they got their inspiration in isolation. Are you talking about Yeshua of Nazareth? The scripture will always record that he will find time to spend it alone by himself, away from the people that followed him. How much time are you spending away from yourself? Isolation is good for you. Don't be scared of your own darkness. Do not be scared of your own darkness. Prophet Muhammad also have been recorded to go to the hillside to get inspiration from his halal. Imagine the price they had to pay in loneliness, in isolation. And they became a celebrity that you guys fight yourself over today. What if you become a new person that people can follow? Using the gift of isolation. The gift of isolation. So Nigerians typically are scared of isolation. Very scared of isolation. The wedding of Mrs. So-so person was this glamorous. I cannot get married until I'm ready to finance this wedding. So you have to go for rent money, to go and borrow money to do wedding of a day. You spend the rest of your marriage paying it back. I read of a couple who borrowed money to pay their wedding bills and then they committed suicide because of inability to pay back. Do what you can afford. You can be the best big thing in the minority. People are looking for who to learn from. Be that person. Enjoy your own isolation. The second thing people are scared of, Nigerians are scared of, is death. Death. Unfortunately, this is inevitable and a very great gift. Inevitable and a very great gift. You see, the fear of isolation, you brought it into the place of grief. It's going to be only me. How will I cope? What is going to happen to me? So you are scared of being left alone. But death is inevitable. So they open religious churches, religious mosques, and all of those religious settings just to make you feel as if you can cheat death. Whereas the only reason why, or the only way you don't get to die, is to do something about everything around you. To invest yourself in your purpose for living. So your name don't depart from people's mouth. If that was what they were teaching you in those churches, the churches would be empty by now. But you go to churches, you go to mosques, you go to your pastors and your imam to help you pray against death. Do you not know that death is part of your experience in life? In fact, it is the most, if you have not died, you have not lived. If you have not died, you have not lived. But people are scared of death. So we cannot go into researches. We cannot take risk. We cannot go into unknown zones because we are scared of death. You are scared of death. I am scared of death. Everybody is scared of death. We have no invention. We are not increasing the GDP of the nation. The country is not on the global map for good thing. Nothing is particularly happening to us because we go to church, we go to mosque to go and pray against the best gift that life can ever give, death. Death. If you think of death every day, it will propel you to do what is worth it while you are still breathing. But again, in the family setting, you were told to be scared of death. If your father or your mother took time to explain to you the gift that death carries, you will be willing to spend yourself for humanity. You will be willing to do all it takes to discover the undiscoverable. It will not come out of your lips that our God is a mysterious God. Why? Because it is glory of God to hide a thing. That's why we call him God. It is your own glory, your honor, to find those things out. In the process of finding out, you could die, you could live. But if you die, it is better for you. Why? Because you have discovered something. Until you find something to die for, you are not living at all. But we don't have that mentality in this country. We don't have the mentality of embracing the issue of death in this country. We think that death is a bad thing. Death is not a bad thing. Those who are not scared of death achieve monumental great things in this world. They built skyscraper. They went to the moon. They explored the Mars. They went to the Venus. They did miraculous things. Those who are not afraid of death, their name never departed from our mouth. They kept living because they first of all say, death, you have no grip over me. But a typical Nigerian is always scared of the fact that death is coming, death is coming. You are so scared of death, you never lived at all. So I asked, what is really the meaning of life when death is not being put into consideration? You have forgotten that this world is a recycled tool. Some die, some live. And until some people die, some people don't get to come in this world. Because the world has to balance itself. It cannot exceed some certain number. It cannot go below a certain number. And the power of death is what regulates this life. It could be your turn tomorrow. It could be my turn. But I'm not scared of dying. Why? Because I'm doing what I'm here to do. At least the history will remember me that I stood up in the face of great tyranny when religious evil is spreading across the world and Nigeria as a whole, making us become the world capital of poverty. Some of us stood up and we spoke against these men called the fathers in the law. Death. Death. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. When you live your life every day thinking and knowing that you could die anytime, you'll be cautious of what you live for and how you live. Those who are not more scared of death never get satisfied with 24 hours in a day because they want to do more. They know they are running out of time. They don't waste time celebrating birthday because they know it's a reminder of one less year to their grave. And how do you live forever if you don't put into consideration the day you die? People are so scared of death. Yet they tell you that Jesus is coming soon. Yet they tell you that the rapture will take place. Yet they tell you they are going to the heaven. But they keep building, they keep buying, they keep expanding in real estate. In the same church where they tell you to get prepared for Jesus coming or rapture, they pray against death. How do you get to where Jesus is if you don't die first? Even he died. When they arrested one man called Apostle Johnson Suleiman, I saw the way he was breathing heavily, beaming out threat, saying that if he had spent a day in the DSS custody, the havoc it will cost Nigeria, it will take 1 year to repair. I was so mad in the box. I said, nothing will happen. Even Jesus was killed. Heaven did not shake. Even Jesus, the greatest man in the world, died. Who are you that you cannot die? Who are you that you cannot die? So suddenly you guys have a new hero in Nigeria right now, who at one point in time was shouting, they want to kill me, they want to kill me. I thought he said that he wasn't afraid of death. But let's give it to him. His effrontery and audacity to face tyranny, enemy name, let's hope he make a good of that name. For real men who want to make change, put death into consideration. Put death into consideration. Unfortunately, Nigerians don't put this into consideration. Whereas when you look all around you, the whole country is set up for death. The road system is death trap. So they call it blood-sucking demon on the highways. In order for you to feel as if you and I are not responsible for the death, they make it spiritual. We are the one killing ourselves. We could reduce the numbers of highway accidents that claims life in this country by 92% if we repair all the roads and have a good network of infrastructure on road. But because of our lack of responsibility, we don't want to own up to it. The church was used to help distract us and begin to say it is blood-sucking demon. I went to Ondo the other day. Naturally, people don't like to travel during the festive season. Especially if you are someone like me, you know, they told me I'm not going to last until 2020. Some members of Oyedepo's family said by the power of the God of their father Oyedepo, I will not see 2020. How many days to 2020 now? My confidence in the God Almighty If he permit my life to enter 2020, I will drag that to Edeku. I will so mock his God. Let's wait. Let's see who is serving the true God. So in order to divert your attention from holding the right people killing you responsible, they tell you there is such a thing as blood-sucking demon on the highway. I went on the highway. I came back late night. I went to Ondo State Prison to go and give reusable sanitary. On the road, not flat. I went and came back. Blood-sucking demon suddenly went on vacation. And I did not pray in the bus. I did not pray before I leave my house. It was intentional. None of the people I entered buses with prayed. None of them prayed. We got to our destination safely because the driver observed the rule of the road. So if churches or mosques spend enough time sanitizing or sensitizing, educating their church members on the safety precautions, checking their brakes, necessary thing, and being obedient to the rules of traffic, you know, there won't be blood-sucking demon, but they will not do that. They will rather invest time scaring you about blood-sucking demon than educating you that you are responsible for your own life. We already know that there is pothole there. Why do you want to go into pothole by force and say the blood of Jesus is covering you? That blood of Jesus is never going to work for you because you are abusing it. And it's not even available for your own insurance policy. It has nothing to do with protection. There's nothing like we plead the blood of Jesus. We plead the blood of Jesus. We plead the blood of Jesus is a lie. Is a lie. It's like pleading my blood. It's like pleading my own blood. How will my blood work for the people? You people are pagans. You are idol worshiper. Your idolatry has not left you. To be killing, to be spilling blood, to be appeasing one God one way or the other has mastered you so much that if there is no blood in whatever you do, you don't think God is in it. You don't think God is in it. So you are told you are scared of death. You are on the highway, you are scared of death. You are walking from point A to B, you are scared of death. Whereas you have forgotten that death is part of life. Meanwhile, the death that really want to kill you is inside your body. When was the last time you went for medical checkup? Total medical checkup. When was the last time you went for it? Some of you are hypertensive, but you don't know. You don't know already you are hypertensive. Some of you, cancer is growing in your body. You have been using painkillers. While you are praying against blood-sucking demon, you are breathing a blood sucker in your body. Ignorance, the fear of death. People want to live forever. They want to be like Methuselah. They are useless to the world. They are useless to heaven. The fear of death. We hold any Nigerian in ransom. And these men know how to take you for granted. An elderly person naturally don't want to cry over the death of a child. So when they see a woman from age 45 or 50 downward, the kind of prophecy they give to that woman is that, what is the English of rapada? Ransom for your children. I can see death. I can see death. Mama, meaning that you will not cry over your children. No. They know naturally that these women are scared of bearing their children. These mothers, these women are scared of bearing their children. So they naturally just take them for granted for it. Because they have ascertained the source of their fear. So everybody take it for granted. So when they see a man or a woman who is like age 30 or age 30 something, what they say is, and she's not married, what they say is that, spiritual husband, you are suffering from spiritual husband. You need to do something about it. You're suffering from spiritual husband. So automatically an unmarried lady who is around the age 35 is suffering from spiritual husband, especially if you are fair in complexion and you are yet married. They say it's Mami spirit that is troubling you. The Mami spirit is Mami water spirit is troubling you. And if you are a young guy, you are of the age of let's say 25 upward, you are done with schooling and all that, or you are hustling. You know what they say to you? They say that they can see you in the midst of white men. They say they can see you in the midst of white men. That until you go abroad, you cannot fulfill destiny, or that you cannot be rich. That your destiny is in white man's land. Is that not a programmed prophecy? It is like a monologue. We know their pattern. Fear. Fear. So they come to you with these prophecies according to your age grade. And you think they are spiritual men, men of God. And you cannot decipher that they are only telling you things that your ear want to hear. That's how most of you are busy going to singles and youth fellowship, this fellowship, that fellowship, and all of those things. Just because those pastors, they know how to rhyme. And they know how to tell you what you want to hear. It's never go to work. I don't know what is wrong with this system. It's always showing itself. Maybe I need a new one. But the very last one is the fear of hell. The fear of hell. The fear of hell. It is an ancient fear that comes with man. But let's do a little mathematics. This hell, is it real, or we created it for ourselves? How do we come to the point where we have hell? And do you know there are different kinds of hell? The hell of the Muslim is going to be accommodating Christians and Hindus and other people of religion that is different from Islam. Note it. The hell of Christians will be accommodating Muslims and Hindus or Buddhists or those who worship other things aside their own. Even in Christianity, the hell of Christian will also be accommodating those who follow the law of Moses. Can you see that? Those who follow the law of Moses will be going to the hell. And you see the Hindu, they also have hell they created for Muslims, for Christians, and for other people who are not there. How real is that kind of hell that segregate and have some certain set of people? And while the hell of Christians accommodate other people, note that there are 144,000 people that are sure will enter that hell. Other people will struggle to go into it. Other people will struggle to enter that hell. The fear of hell. I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to go to hell. So when your children are growing up, you are so wicked to teach them. You are so wicked to be threatening them with the fear of hell and the reward of heaven that they grew up knowing nothing about what is right and what is good. What is right and what is good. So instead of you to tell a child the real repercussion of what she's doing or what he's doing, we begin to say all liars are going to hell. No, all liars receive spanking. In Yoruba land, they say, "Ẹni tó parọ́ máa ń jalè, ẹni tó ń jalè, agbébọn, ẹni tó gbébọn, ó máa ń pa ni, pa ẹ́ dànù." All those afterlife experience, we don't even accommodate it. We tell you the repercussion of your sin now. For every action, there is a reaction. You went inside the pot to go and take meat that does not belong to you. And maybe in the next 1 week, you don't get to eat with protein. You know that everything carries its consequences. We don't wait for hell to come and be judging you. So because you train up these children to think that until they die, they cannot receive the repercussion of their sin, they began to now devise ways of cheating nature. And before they die, they will have wrought so many havoc or wreaked so many havoc on people, causing so many pains. Why? Because they think that they can escape it here and meet it later. No, you don't train a child up with the fear of hell and heaven. No, you tell them the repercussion of it. In this house, nobody lies. I detect you are lying, I discipline you right away. In this family, things that does not belong to you, you don't get to take it. You do that, I confiscate all your goods also and give it to those who are in need. I tell you to sit down there, you move away from there to this place. These are the things I'm going to be deducting from your allowance. Create a reward system here on earth for them and a form of consequences for every of your action. Let them know. Let them know the mentality that whatever you sow, you reap. They will be thinking twice before they make a decision. So when we begin to help people launder their evil act on this world, while telling them that when you die, bó bá ṣe bí eléri ibú ọgbà kó o tó kù láyé ni, bó sì wà rere ọgbẹ̀san rẹ̀ kó o tó kù láyé ni, bó wọ́n ṣe ọ wà ṣe rádaràdá nílé ayé ọ wà fi kú ṣe ọ fi kú bojú. No, we don't get to use death to honor you while you have done so much evil to people. Because these politicians know that it's only hell and heaven, you know. They feel that they can mess your life up and then launder themselves and say, okay, that's why so many countries that have low crime rates in this world, they are not religious countries. And it doesn't matter if you are the prime minister or former president. In China, you mess up, they kill you. You steal from public funds, you die by execution. It is this place you are giving them amnesty for those who are terrorists. Only in Nigeria, you'll be giving amnesty for someone who is an obvious, an outright, what do you call it? An outright terrorist. How do you get to pardon a terrorist? Go and sin no more. For what? Because of what? Go and sin no more. You have done this thing. You have to reap the fruit of your labor. We don't get to wait for hell. And that's why Christianity will keep having crowd. Because in Christianity, people feel that there is one Jesus who is taking the repercussion of their own sin. They feel that in Christianity, they can do as they like, live an unruly life because there is a grace for them. The best criminal in the world is a Christian. A Christian. All them criminals, all them thieves, they are either bearing Peter or John. They are either bearing Peter or John. Where is the fruit of the Spirit in there? Because we permitted them. We permitted them to go scot-free. And when we mention the issue of restitution, only you people will say there is no restitution in Christianity. So you stole from me, you think that because you have asked God for forgiveness, you don't need to come and return what you stole from me to me. You have forgotten that I am also praying to God to avenge my case. So when you come to do restitution with me, you are actually telling me that God is alive. So if you don't come to through the outward one by telling me that you were the one who did this to me, I get to lose faith in God. I don't get how you people live. Oh, I don't get. So we bundle everything and we say, oh yeah, hell, we will meet everything in hell. No. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. If I become the president of this nation, I don't care the year you embezzle money or you mess up. You go to jail and you face firing squad for it. And call me legalistic. You call me wicked. Call me unforgiving. When you begin to use fire to test your own flesh before testing all that, you will know that evil is not good. I don't give a damn about the name of your Jesus or the grace of your Muhammad. When you do evil, we show you evil. There is law. That's why there is law. Obey it. Stop laundering your destiny under hell. Hell that some people have their own brand. Everybody have different kind of hell. And they have prerequisite of entering that hell. Yes, they have prerequisite. There are prerequisites you must meet before you enter that hell. So if you have enough money, you could escape that hell. Purgatory of the Catholic. They think if you do more good than this, you can escape that hell. What arrant nonsense is that? So those three things that an average Nigerian is scared of. Isolation. If you're just joining us, you could go back and listen from the beginning. Isolation. The fear of I don't want to be by myself. The anxiety and the enthusiasm of wanting to belong to a certain set of group. As if you'll be judged together with them. So an average Nigerian feel that if we are going to be destroyed collectively, it is a good destruction. This is what the scripture says. Save yourself. Save yourself. That's what Peter was saying on the day of Pentecost. Save yourself. It is about you first. The very first law of nature is self-preservation. Preserve yourself first. Preserve yourself first. Preserve yourself first. Don't be carried away with what is trending and what is in vogue, that you lose your own identity. The world needs your uniqueness. This world needs your uniqueness to function. Don't lose your uniqueness because the voice of the majority is overshadowing yours. Don't lose your uniqueness. Everybody could be saying that this is right. You know it's wrong. Teach them the way by standing for what you believe. You never can tell. Your voice might be the saving grace for the rest of them. But because you lack self-esteem and confidence, you want to belong. It says, do not cast away your confidence. That comes with great reward. But the thing is that the very first thing they take from you in religion and Nigeria is your self-confidence. Because they know if you are confident enough to say your mind as it is, you might become a perfect replacement for them. The second thing is death. A very beautiful thing about it. Everyone is so scared of death in Nigeria that we are not even living at all. And the third thing is hell. Hell. A myth that we created. Something that started up like a folklore, a Greek folklore. Greek folklore stated that Hades is the guardian of hell. And it's a folklore. From folklore, there is an entertainment. It became a faith. From faith, it became a doctrine. And from the doctrine, it begins to rule human life. All those things are like tales by moonlight that was told people. And don't you ever forget that whatever it is you see as a tradition of the Jewish people, they either got it from Egypt or they got it from the Greek people. Hell. Hell. So scared of hell that we are ready to do evil and say, we leave God to judge. Leave am for God. No. There is a reaction for your action in this world. Whatever you sow, you reap. Not afterlife, here on earth. Here on earth. David is a good man we could study. He did so much great evil. He begged for forgiveness. Did he escape? Did he escape? Even though he got mercy from God. Did he escape? He didn't escape. You have caused a chain reaction. It will bounce back on you. The only thing I know as God's mercy is a ridiculous discount on the repercussion of your sin. Ridiculous discount on the repercussion of your sin. Not an outright write-off of the consequences of your sin. Maybe you should live with the mentality that what you sow, you reap. You will be more holier than this. This is where I'm going to be drawing the curtain of today's Rand Fellowship. And again, if you are yet to share this particular video, go ahead and share it. Post it as a watch party. If you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, go to YouTube right away. Just type Great Man AYILARA Press the subscribe button, and it is important for you to also press the notification button so that you know when we have a new fellowship discourse that we need to talk about together. You know, always common sense is not common, but on this platform, we will make it so common like the sand at the seashore, and we will be better. And we can be the light of the world, the salt of the world. We shine in their darkness, and we preserve their souls from being destroyed with the knowledge of the truth of God Almighty. You can follow me on all my social media at the Great Man AYILARA, either on Facebook or on Instagram, to follow up on several of our humanitarian services that you do. You know, humanity and me, we are synonymous. And if you have any complaint or you want to give a request or something, you want to recommend a child with predicament or issue, medical issue, you can just write to me, the Great Man AYILARA, or just type greatmanayilara@gmail.com, greatmanayilara@gmail.com. Give details, pictures, explanation on why the child should be solicited money for. And don't you ever forget that we don't give money to parents of victims. We give money directly to vendors like hospital and all of those who are going to be providing the services. And we also encourage you, if God has blessed you, reach out to people on this platform and let us feed them, let us help, let us pay their medical bill, let us be the real miracle workers. God bless you and see you some other time. Bye for now.